Hello, welcome to Miemie's Keepsakes. I'm Arnell. Have you ever been in the thrift store and saw these beautiful Victorian albums and thought, how can I incorporate this into my junk journal or even scrapbooks or card making? There is definitely ways to incorporate them, many ways. I'll just flip through the albums quickly. Just to show you the different sizes and how they look inside. For those of you who have not seen them, they are gorgeous. This one is obviously very big, and I'll have to use it in a bigger journal or maybe cut some of the frame down, but it is absolutely gorgeous. Then you can find like this orientation. They're kind of horizontal, and so what you do need to keep in mind is when you look for these, you can cut them down. So like this one would be perfect to cut in the middle and then use this and this be separate. This page obviously you can't cut smaller, so you do need a bigger journal for that. But you know, there's lots of options. Just use your imagination and think, how can I use this? Then there's the smaller sizes, which I like a little bit more, but they're harder to find. Like this one, same thing, because the images aren't close to the frames, you probably might end up just using the frame instead of the images, or again maybe cut it down there and then keep the bottom image. So just, you know, think about how the journal look and how you can incorporate it into making ephemera or making a card, making something for your scrapbook. I love this size the best because it's really small and it's the perfect size for a journal, as a journaling card or a tag. And I also like that the flowers touch the frame, so it's easy to, you know, keep the design with my frame. So I made this little card with one of the pages from this book. I added acetate or transparency, a photo in the back, and then I just added coffee dyed paper. Oh my goodness, where's my words? Excuse me. And then I can obviously go in, decorate it more, maybe add a flower or a wax seal to it. You know, the possibilities are endless, so you don't have to use this. So the one thing that you do need to know is when you go through this album, it is very thick because it's two pieces of cardstock glued together. Don't let that put you off. You can definitely get around that because you're going to separate the two pieces of cardstock. So the first thing you'll do is you'll separate the book from the spine, and that's just easy. You just go in with a craft knife. Oops, and everything came off because I already, then you end up with this. So the next step would be to separate the pages, and for that same thing, you just go in and I would use a craft knife. I'm using the ruler to kind of just guide me into, you know, cutting as straight as possible, because without the craft knife that's not happening. So then you end up with this. So the next thing you need to do is to separate. So on the top usually is where you would add your photo in. So you want to separate these two pieces of cardstock, and that can be pretty hard to do sometimes. I put my ruler in and just try to, and a metal ruler is obviously better than a plastic one, and I'm just going to move it around and try don't try to pull them apart, because then you bend the cardstock and it's just not pretty after that. So I'm just taking my metal ruler and just kind of working my way down to separate the two pieces of cardstock. And some of them are glued down more than others, so then I'm left with this. And then, because I've cut with my craft knife, the top one usually has this really raggedy area, so I like to cut that off that little bit. If you do like that look and that's what you're going for, then for sure keep it. Okay, and then on the back you'll end up with this. So if you want to add coffee dyed paper to it, I like to sand it down a little bit just to get rid of that edge, because you are going to cover it, or if you can pull it apart. This one doesn't want to, so I'm just sanding it down, so when I'm gluing my coffee dyed paper I don't have that like a really big edge. And like I say, sometimes you can pull it apart, but this one does not want to go. And it's pretty fast. You just sand it down until you're happy that there's not too many bumpy bits. You probably won't get rid of everything, but you just want to get rid of that bumpiness that the metal ruler caused when you were separating these two pieces. Okay, I'm gonna use this one because then I don't have to keep sanding and making a noise in your ears. So I'll use this one. I already sanded it down. And then the next thing you need to do is I found this transparency film at the thrift store. You can use acetate from acetate bags, or anything that you would use just something transparent, because I'm gonna add photos in the back, but you can add a butterfly, dried flowers, just a cutout image in here as well. And if you don't have transparency or acetate, then just don't worry about it. This is not it's going into your journal. If you put a photo behind, then obviously you do need something to protect your photo, but if you're not concerned about that, then you don't even need the acetate. I just like the fact that it's shiny. So I'm going to use a book image. So you just cut acetate, transparency, the size of your frame, a little bit bigger, because you do want to glue it down. Oh yeah, and sorry for my very ugly huge band-aid. I have a blister on my finger, and I don't want it to pop, and it's exactly where the scissors grab when I'm cutting. So I'm just adding glue around my frame where my acetate needs to be glued down. And then I'm just popping that down. And so if you are going to use it for a pocket, or where you're gonna put things in and out, make sure that the acetate is glued down in the corners everywhere really tightly, because you don't want your tag or your journaling card to get stuck inside. And what I would do is maybe just cover it, but we'll get to that. I'm kind of so now I need a photo, and because I'm still working on my Jubilee photo albums, I'm thinking I might just add the Queen in here again. Maybe this one. I like this one. She's smiling. So then you just have to cut the photo a little bit bigger than your frame, obviously. And then this I'm going to glue down really well, because I want to make a pocket out of this one. This one I didn't make it, I just made it a writing surface on the back, so that was fine. I am gluing with art glitter glue. I think fabric tack would probably work as well. I'm just using the art glitter glue because I want to make sure it's really glued well onto the acetate, and simply because it dries fast, I don't have to wait, especially on the acetate, because you're going to glue over that. So because I'm going to make this a pocket, I cut the photo bigger than the acetate piece, so I don't have the problem of things, you know, the acetate lifting, and I'm going to get my journaling card stuck in there. So I'm just putting the photo on my, let's get this, on my hand so I can see where it needs to go. I don't want to glue it like this or like this, so I'm just putting it on my hand and wherever I have. And you do have a little bit of wiggle room. Make sure you don't get glue on your acetate. And then I'm happy, and then I'm just going to burnish it a little bit to make sure it's glued on there really well. So there's my frame, and because I want to make this a flip out, a pocket, I am going to put a notch on the top so they can see it's a pocket, and I'm going to glue this pocket down. So if you're not going to glue the pocket down, I would suggest maybe use file folder for the back, but mine's going to be glued down on a page. So I am going to add some just coffee dyed paper. What's going on today? I'm going to use coffee dyed paper and just cut it the size of my pocket or of my front. Oh my goodness, it's painful to cut with this blister on my finger. Okay, and then I'll just put this glue on the sides to close up my pocket. Like I say, if I didn't glue this down all the way, I can do on my page, I would use better paper, you know, sturdier paper. And I'm just going to cut the excess off. And again, I can decorate this more, maybe add, I don't have lots of stuff to decorate with. Oh, I left. But I can add a ruffle on here, more flowers. So this part would be glue onto the page, and I'm going to add some, you know, maybe newspaper clippings in here. Okay, I have sanded it down off camera and saved you that horrible noise. So it's sanded down, I've cut it out of the book, and now I need to cut a piece of transparency or acetate to cover my frame, and I'm just going to more or less measure, just eyeball it. Yep. Okay. So you don't have to, like, say for instance this pocket, I could have made a tag, not glue my photo onto the the pocket, but made a tag so when you take it in and out you can, you know, move the image. Maybe I can do this one like that. Yeah, maybe let's do that. You know, like the window envelopes. I'll do this one like that. I'm just adding my acetate. And then, now that I've changed my mind, I need to maybe get rid of the excess glue first. And just make sure the acetate is, yeah, it's pretty good. Maybe on the bottom not as well. I'm just gonna add a little bit more glue here on the bottom. But the big thing is, because I'm gonna put my tag in like that, I want to make sure the top, it won't catch onto the tags, if you understand what I mean. Okay, so I have a little bit of glue seeping out here. I'm just gonna remove it before it dries. There. Now I got glue on the there. Okay, so we're ready to make a flip out pocket. So I'm going to use my file folder this time. I'll just cut it smaller so it's easier to manage. And like I said, when you open these albums, they feel like it's a very thick cardstock, but it's not. If now you can see it's basically the thickness of, if you once you've separated, of a file folder. And I'm thinking what I want to do is maybe I'm just gonna score it here. I don't have my scoring pad here, but I'm just gonna score it because I do did that work. I want to fold it over. And let's cut this down. And then I'll use my cutter for this because it is pretty painful to cut with the scissors. Just a bad spot where I burnt my finger. I'm gonna cut this down here where the file folder has those score lines. And then let's see, we'll cut it down here. Yeah, pretty much there. And I need to get rid of a teeny tiny bit here. It was just a teeny tiny bit too big. Okay. So what I'm gonna do next is I am going to glue this on here, and it's still too big. Maybe measuring is a good thing, but I don't know. If I measure, I cut it too small. Okay. I'm going to make a little notch in here again so you can see that there's something in, you know, it's a pocket and you can add something in there. And then I am simply going to put the glue on here, just, you know, on 3 sides to close my pocket. And then the 3rd side. Okay, enough glue, and just put it down. Okay. And then I just want to get rid of a little bit more here. And see, I did get glue on it. If you take a baby wipe, you can clean that. It's just a little extra effort, so it's best not to get glue on your acetate or transparency from the beginning. Then, so there is my pocket, and now I can make a tag that would go in here and would show behind my acetate window. I can obviously decorate this more, add stuff on the front ruffles, and then on the inside I can make it either leave this as just journaling space or add pockets with more tags, or pockets on this side, you know, like those wallets. So there's, you know, once you've taken the album apart, it's pretty much the same as any kind of cardstock ephemera that you would be making. So don't leave these behind at the thrift store just because you think it's too thick. The other thing that I found is these little photo frames that you find lots of times as well. It has the same kind of Victorian design. I don't know if it's the exact same company, but they're supposed to sit on your table like this with that on the back. These are obviously same thing. You would take them apart same way with a metal ruler. Don't try to force them open, because then the cardstock bends and then it's not pretty anymore. And then from here on you can do pretty much whatever you want to with this card. So don't leave these behind because you think, you know, it's a frame, I can't do anything with it. You can definitely still use them, and they're so pretty. So yeah, that is what I made today, and I hope this was insightful. Keep your eyes open for those Victorian albums. They are definitely useful. I will come back and play a little bit more with these in the coming days, maybe next week probably. I have some other videos lined up for the next couple of days, but yeah, leave a comment and let me know if you have made anything with these, or if you know you have not thought about using these in your journals. Like I say, these can be used for greeting cards as well, same idea. Even with scrapbooks, same idea. And yeah, please subscribe, leave a comment, and hit that notification bell. I would really appreciate that, and will see you next time. Thank you. Bye.